My name is Hazel Marie Hitson Weidman. I'm a World War II veteran. I was a wave in the Navy. My father had been in the submarine service in World War I, and I had two brothers, younger than I, but who were already enlisted in the Navy during World War II, and I wanted to be in the Navy too. So I waited until my 20th birthday. With my parents' permission, I enlisted right away on my birthday, but it didn't start serving until a few days later. I went in 43. I went to boot camp at Hunter College. We had a lot of marching and a lot of drilling, and we had to learn to salute the proper people, and we had to make our bunks properly, and we had to have them inspected. We had to learn to live in a military environment and to be always constantly aware of hierarchies. When I enlisted, I had been going to night school, taking telegraphy with the Morse code, thinking I could probably be a radio person. But when we got to boot camp, they gave us aptitude tests, and they said, you would be a good instructor. How would you like to teach Navy pilots how to fly by instruments? And I thought that would be wonderful. So they sent me to Atlanta for training. I also was short, and when we flew those little planes, my legs would not reach the rudder pedals, which was pretty bad. So every time I went out to learn how to fly by the seat of my pants, I had to attach wooden blocks. The carpenters made me 6-inch wooden blocks that I had to bolt to the rudder pedals every time I got in or out. And one time we were practicing a snap roll, and one of them fell off, and of course I had to, in a snap roll you sort of have to pull the nose up a little bit, and then you go wham, wham, and then when you come back you have to work both rudder pedals to get on course again, because the poor plane doesn't know what you really wanted. So when I lost one of my extensions, rudder pedal extensions, my instructor had to take over because it flew off and was banging around in those wonderful little yellow perils, they called them. They were fun. They were just wonderful to experiment with in aerobatics. And as you can tell, I enjoyed that. I taught instrument flight, radio navigation. We didn't have radar at the time. Radio navigation and celestial navigation to Navy pilots, and including the instructors of the new recruits. We used the little link trainers, which are hooded. They'd have only the instruments. They would put out a flight pattern that they wanted to pursue, and we would be at the desk being able to feed into their flight pattern turbulence. We could give them headwinds, we could give them tailwinds, side winds. We could really create problems for them, and they had to manage it all on their own. All of that was being recorded at the desk, so when they came out of the trainer, we would go over every step of the way with them and show them what great things they did or where they need a little more practice. Then after they managed the instruments, we would go out and accompany them on actual cross-country flights, and they would be in the hooded front cockpit, and we would be in the back cockpit watching all the instruments. And sometimes we would have to change course because of thunderheads. Sometimes we had to stop and stay overnight at other places because of storms in the Louisiana area. It was because I got tired of dating so often that I began to spend time in the library. And fortunately, all the bases had libraries with quite a collection of interesting volumes. As soon as the war ended, they discharged us. I knew that I wanted a higher education, and the GI Bill was passed after I got out. And I thought, well, since I was from a poor family, I thought, now I can finally go to college. So I used the GI Bill to be accepted at Northwestern University, and that made all the difference in my whole life and career thereafter. And then I wanted to continue on into graduate studies. My professor at Northwestern said, well, there's only one place for you to go, and that's Harvard's Department of Social Relations. I flew to Cambridge and applied and had to wait until I passed the graduate record examination, but then I was accepted. I think everyone is a trailblazer in his or her own way, because if they follow their hearts and if they follow their talents and they do what they're able to do, we're all, in a sense, trailblazers, I think.